I didn't know what it was until I started looking at your page.
Yeah,
and then
so
I got informed of what it was.
Yeah, so that's why it's a little bit harder for us, because not just are we trying to, convince people that this is life-changing and it's going to look great, but we have to also educate them on what it is and what it's going to look like and, when it's healed and all that.
Welcome you and all to another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast, where we talk about, say it with me, Latino everything. I'm your host, Crispin Valentin. Thank you very much for being here to another episode. Make sure you go and subscribe to the channel, like this video, help this podcast, the Latino podcast, the content of the Latinos, be seen on YouTube. Subscribe right now. Thank you very much for being here. For all the ones that are subscribed and are listening on audio, my audio people, I know that sometimes I forget about you. Shout out going out to Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners on audio only. We appreciate you very much. Follow, give us a 5-star rating, because why? We're doing amazing things, sharing amazing stories, such as today we have a female entrepreneur that is in a male-dominated industry, is the owner of the very first SMP Scalp Micropigmentation clinic that specializes in hair loss. She fulfilled a dream by becoming a pro artist and part of the Blends Pro team, master SMP artist. She has been featured on many magazines as well. Erika Martinez in the house. Hola.
Hey.
Did I get everything correct?
Yeah, you did.
Is there any new updates maybe that you need to tell me, and then maybe I got it wrong?
No, you got it spot on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You can look at myself. You don't have to look at the cameras.
Okay,
or if you're making a point,
wondering.
then go ahead and do that.
Okay, no.
We're not going to cut this. We're going to keep it raw.
Okay.
Go ahead. You were saying?
No, I appreciate you having me on here. It's definitely a pleasure, and I'm excited to talk about my journey.
I'm excited to talk to you. I ran into you. Y'all don't believe me when I say I'm shy sometimes. I don't be talking to people. I just be around, but I just be watching. And I noticed her on one of the events, and then on social media, they tagged her. I'm like, I clicked, and then I seen all the things that you were doing. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is something I haven't seen before. And then I started following you, and it took me a little while, but we got it situated. So thank you very much. I know you came all the way from Fort Worth, especially around this time. There's a lot of traffic, so thank you. It truly is appreciated that you are here.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
No, thank you. I'm just going to go back and forth. I'm just kidding. Before we get started, though, we're going to do a very, very, very amazing segment that we have called Preguntas al Chile. If you have not seen Preguntas al Chile, this or that, go and subscribe to the channel. Check out the graphics. We need new ones. We need to update the graphics soon, because, they're getting old. Preguntas al Chile. Erika, are you ready? ¿Estás lista? Preguntas al Chile. Do you prefer tacos o tortas?
Tacos.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Corn.
Gorditas o sopes?
Sopes.
Mexican coca, the drink, or jarrito?
Jarritos.
What flavor? ¿Qué sabor?
The orange one.
The orange one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Salsa verde, salsa roja. Do you enjoy spicy food?
Salsa verde, and I'm probably the only Mexican that doesn't eat a lot of spicy food.
No, there's a lot of y'all.
Yeah.
I met a Mexican that's allergic to chile. How about that?
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
What?
she's Mexican. Yeah, so no, you're not the only one, believe me. Agua de horchata, Jamaica, or
Horchata.
tamarindo. Horchata?
Horchata.
Like that. Salsa, ya dije esa. Bueno, churros or flan?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think flan.
Flan? Yeah. Valentina, Tapatio, Cholula, the hot sauce, the pre-made ones. ¿Cuál te gusta más? Which one?
Tapatio. My family's
Tapatio?
from Guadalajara.
Really?
So, yeah.
Nice. That's dope. Conchitas, the pastries. Do you like the pink ones, the white ones, or the pink ones? Or the white ones or the brown ones?
The white ones.
Awesome. And this was way off, not even close to the same realm of preguntas or questions. A conspiracy theory that you heard one time that you'd be like, man, that has to be true. What would that be?
Like Mexican?
Conspiracy theory. It could be a Mexicano conspiracy theory, or it could be an American one. JFK, Land Mundi, La Llorona, or Aliens, lo que sea, whatever it would be.
Shoot. La Llorona is hard not to believe it. And then I don't know if it's considered a conspiracy, but the purse on the floor. I don't know if you know what that means.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't leave my purse on the floor.
So the last guest that was here, her grandma used to tell her that it's more of a superstition.
Yeah,
that
superstition.
You put it, se te va el dinero if you put it on the ground. And
my mom, since I was a kid, and like to this day, like I know, like I don't believe in it, but I can't do it. Like I cannot leave my purse on the floor.
You're not the only one, because there's a lot of ladies, Latina ladies, Mexican ladies, that believe firmly that putting your purse on the floor.
It's gonna make you broke.
Yep. Or barrer después cuando esta noche. That's another one that I used to like.
Really?
Yes. Until this day, I just won't barrer.
Or barrer los pies.
Yeah,
no te casas.
Oh, no te casas. Somebody.
That's probably why somebody did that to me.
I'm in the same position too, because somebody got me when I was younger. I think I remember that person. But yeah, I'm in the same position as you are. Me barrieron los pies. Okay, so what comes to mind when you first hear the word Latino, Latina, Latinx?
So I'm not sure. Like, you mean
just in general, when you hear the term, somebody says Latino, Latina,
okay.
What first comes to mind?
So I would think just family oriented. I think that's like the number one thing.
Yeah.
Just family oriented. Everybody's real close together. Usually in the Latino families. Right. Unfortunately, my family's not. We kind of all moved away, and I only have my immediate family.
Right.
Half of us now here in Texas, but everybody else lives all over the country, and half of us in Mexico, or half of them in Mexico.
I think a lot of people would agree too. Whenever we're together, it's like that. And then, of course, we got to do what we got to do for family. Mm-hmm. But when y'all get together, I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, they never left.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Okay, and do you mind if anybody calls you Latina? Do you care to be called Mexican-American, American, Chicana, American, human being? Do you care for any of those labels?
No, I think Latina. I would appreciate Latina or Mexican,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so let's get into your journey. So you were telling me that you not always lived in Fort Worth, right? You lived around.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born?
So I was born in California, right. In LA, and then I moved when I was little. I was a baby. We moved to Florida. From Florida, I moved to Houston. I moved to Mexico for a few months, and then we moved to Fort Worth.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. You moved quite a bit.
Yeah, we moved a lot because of my dad's work.
So 20 years you've been on Fort Worth for now, right? About 20 years now?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you know your dad's and your mom's journey to the States, United States? Or were they originally from Jalisco and they moved to the States? Or I don't know if your mom's from Jalisco too. Or do you happen to know, did they ever share the journey of how they got to the States?
Yeah, so they're from Guadalajara, both of them, and they crossed over, and they lived in California. Was the first place that they lived, and they crossed over like a lot of Mexicans. They went through the border. They even took my oldest two siblings with them. So my sister still remembers crossing with them.
Really?
Yeah.
So they crossed illegally?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I crossed illegally. Not no more. Migra, Texas people. Y'all stop me if y'all want to. I'm gonna tell you I got a certificate. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of our families do cross illegally.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Like, clear as day, I was 11 years old.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
My dad got sick. He got a hernia, so he couldn't work. My mom came to take care of him while he got better. A year later, they, had enough money to bring us. They paid a lot of money to get us over here. Grandpa drove us to the border, turns us over to a strange family lady, and then we crossed under a inner tube, over the Rio, under a fence, ran into a restaurant, waited there for the migra, make sure they were not coming. We waited there for a little longer. We took a taxi and went to a hotel, stayed in the hotel, went to the airport and got on a plane pretending we were the ladies' kids. That's how they crossed us over.
Wow, yeah.
And then we landed here. I think it was probably Love Field. And then that's how we made it.
Yeah, because back then it wasn't as strict, right? Like,
the migra in the airports over there back in the days, they were just looking to see if you were like acting funny. So the lady would like act like you're normal. Like, and I would like look at the plane and I'm like, pretend this is a big adventure or whatever. So that's what we would do until we got here. And then it's just at 11 years old, from a little pueblito to everything that was here in the States, it's just like night and day.
Was it a different world?
Man, it was like,
Yeah.
what the heck is this? It really was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember clearly. What did your sister tell you? Did she remember whenever they crossed over?
So they actually got robbed. And my mom's always been like the tough one.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen my mom be scared or like back down from anybody.
Yeah.
And they got robbed and they were trying to take my mom's purse. And she said the guy pulled out a gun. She was like, I'm not giving you my purse. And my dad's like, just let them have it.
Yeah.
And she won. Like I don't think the guy was really. They think that El Coyote set them up. But I don't think he really was like planning on like hurting anybody, but he was trying to take their money. So
He was trying to intimidate them, scare them to give the purse
yeah,
up.
yeah.
My mom got robbed too. My uncle and my
At the
mom.
border.
Yep.
Wow.
And then
So
they got
I
caught.
think they get set up like
I
that
think so too.
a lot of the times.
Man, that sucks that our own people be doing that. I mean, again, no judgment.
Poverty, yeah.
But poverty is it's a mother trucker. You don't have nothing to eat. You got to find yourself a way to. It sucks that they do it to our own gente, but it happens. So yeah, my mom's got robbed too. They took the. Luckily, fortunately, this is the only thing that they did take their belongings. Because you hear horror stories about other things that happens.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, they got caught, sent back, and then she finally made it. She almost went back to us because imagine leaving her kids behind, having to cross the border, getting caught, getting sent back, and I'm like, man, I'm going back to my kids, but she kept pushing forward and made it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. So your sister remembers them getting robbed at the border.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
She's like,
And then they finally made it to California. LA, you said specifically?
Yeah, and a lot of my family still lives there to this day. My
Nice.
a lot of my mom's family and my dad's family.
Yeah. Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And okay, so you watch your dad work really hard. I don't know, maybe he never really noticed that you were watching hard. What are some of the memories that you have of seeing him work, like as far as the hours, the jobs, or moving around?
So he was always on the road. Like I would remember like not seeing him for weeks, and then he would show up, and we would all run out the door because it was like 6 of us. So on any time we had off, like if it was the weekend, a 3-day weekend, the summers, like we didn't go to like Disney or anything like that. We would go to where my dad would take a road trip, go where my dad's working, and then we would just like pick up trash and help him sweep or just help him. And he worked. I mean, there would be times where because he did commercial flooring, carpet and flooring.
Oh, okay.
So there'd be times where he was by himself working all night. And for us, it was fun. Like, so there was times where we spent the night, like he did a lot of schools, churches.
Oh, wow.
He worked in a lot of jails and big stores. And we would like spend the night in there. And to us, it was fun. Like, it was an adventure.
Yeah. When did it click on you that he was really putting in a lot of hours, that you realized like, wow, he really works a lot?
One time, whenever like his whole crew kind of just like didn't show up for work, like so it was just him, and he had a deadline, and he had to finish like this huge store within like a day. And I remember hearing my mom talking to him like, "We're gonna help you," and like seeing him stressed out and just drinking Monsters. And and I was like, okay, this is gonna be like an all night thing. So I felt really motivated to help him, and we did. We all like got through it. Like me and my siblings. I don't remember how old I was. I was probably like 10 years old. But I remember watching him like lay out the glue, and I'm just like, dang, he's just like he would make it look so flawless, and like never heard him complain, never heard him say he was tired, anything like that.
Does he speak Spanish or English?
He speaks mostly Spanish.
Yeah.
He does speak English, but it's a little broken English.
Okay. So if you was to tell him, if he was to watch this interview, if you was to tell him something how much you've seen and appreciated how much he worked, what would you want to tell him, and would it be in English or Spanish, and what would it be?
I don't want to get emotional because I'm not like, communication is really hard for us. We just didn't grow up like communicating because he was always working. But like all his hard work is like, it will never go unseen.
I appreciate it.
And sorry, I'm a baby.
I'm a baby too. I know, my bad. I know it was going to be tough, but I know that it was important for you to be able to let him know that it was truly appreciated, because that's some of the inspiration that you got as far as the work you do, as far as getting up there and doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
and then I can imagine just like coming to a different country with like your kids and having to start from scratch with like no help. just like our parents did.
Yeah. Y en español, ¿qué le dirías?
Que lo aprecio mucho por todo el trabajo y el esfuerzo que él puso para nosotros, aunque nunca nos dijo. I don't ever say like my dad never said. I was talking to my sister earlier and like we were like, it's crazy because we don't really hear like I love you, but we know that he loves us because he did a lot for us. So we started saying it now more on the phone,
right?
But we kind of had to say it first. But I mean, like I will always be grateful for like, even though he missed out a lot of time from his family and it kind of affected our bond, like he did it all for us and my mom. And
yeah, I feel you on that. But there was something I heard. I don't remember what I got it from, but a lot of the times, Latino dads, Mexican dads, they have a hard time expressing that they love, not every single one of them, but some do, because at the same time, it's just the way that they grew up, right? And sometimes going to work for 10, 12, whatever hours it is, a lot of the times that's their way of showing that they love you without actually telling you the words. And like I said, you kind of sense that he does, but he never might have vocally said it. It's just for whatever reason, we're just wired that way based on our upbringing. Then we don't get to say it like that. Like, I love you, you know?
Yeah.
So I grew up similarly, and I learned to, like, I don't care if they say it back to me.
Yeah, it's like
I mean
awkward.
it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter though. Even if it's awkward, I'm going to tell it regardless. For me, just because I want to say it. If it's not reciprocated, if I say it back, it's all good, because it's supposed to be my good feeling towards them, my appreciation towards them.
Yeah, and you want to definitely let your loved ones know that how you feel about them.
Yeah, but you're right. Sometimes it gets a little funny, but to me, in the beginning, more than ever, even my siblings, is like it used to be. But now it's like, hey, love you, sister. Love you, brother. And then there might not. Like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? But I really feel it, because I really do truly appreciate my family. And I kind of sort of understand my dad more as to why he might have not said it. Because we never, I guess maybe because I get older, you kind of sort of start kind of relating to the reason why.
Yeah, exactly.
Put themselves in their place.
How they grew up.
Exactly. And that makes you see it differently. I'm like, maybe I'm more understanding. I don't get you, but you know what? I'm still going to say it, whether you want to.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you started, tell me about the jobs that you had before you found Barber. Because I knew, at 5 years old already, you kind of sort of had an idea that you wanted to be in the barber industry when you would cut your own hair. Makes me think of one of my nieces.
I gotta show you a picture.
Really?
I used to cut my hair, like, and it's crazy because my mom, like, nobody ever told me nothing. But now, like, I look at old pictures and I'm like, how come nobody ever said anything? Like, it was
you cut
super
your hair,
crooked.
your veins and everything, like, and they will let you do it.
I'm gonna show you a picture. It's,
Please send us a picture so we can add it into as we do
just
it.
blur out the face.
No, igualita.
But my daughter's just like me. She does the same thing. She's always chopping her hair, doing her eyebrows. But yeah, at an early age, I think when I was real little, like, I really wanted to be a singer. And then I realized I can't sing. And then I was like,
when did you realize you couldn't sing? Who told you?
My brother.
Somebody hurt you?
My brothers are assholes. They're real blunt, they're typical older brothers.
So you can't sing, sis.
Yeah.
And then after that, you like start cutting your hair.
No, it was just like, that was my thing. Like, I used to cut Barbie's hair. I used to color my dog's hair with Kool-Aid. Like, that was
I used to color with Kool-Aid?
Yeah, we had one of those white fluffy dogs, and I would buy those packs of Kool-Aid and just like dye its hair. And
your mom wouldn't say nothing?
She wouldn't.
Just let you do it.
Yeah, or she had like color left over from her hair. I would put it on my Barbies, and
really
a couple times on my brother. Yeah, I was always like doing stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That you, even at 5 years old, you started doing funny. I can't think. Passion. But I can't take the image of the dog with multiple colors running around the house.
It was pink. Yeah.
I'll be like, what the heck? That's pretty cool. But what other odd jobs that you had? Like when you finally found Barber and you decided to move that direction. Any other kind of odd jobs that you have, whether you were a waiter, whatever else?
I worked at Starbucks whenever I was in high school. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I think that's where she got her early addiction to Starbucks. But yeah, I was working there, and then right after she was born, she was 4 weeks whenever I started beauty school.
Wow. So you were a barista.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. It's probably where your customer service comes into place. No?
Yeah.
You
I
think
mean,
it would be
yeah,
a
I
good
liked
customer
it.
service?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's important. It's
Yeah,
important.
it is.
But the customer is not always right. 99.9% of the times it might be.
Right? It's just like whisper it under your breath.
99.9%. Yeah, right. Okay, so you're a barista, and then you go straight to beauty school because, of course, you have passion for it since 5 years old, doing everything that you were doing.
Mhm.
So you going to beauty school
Yeah,
or barber school?
beauty school.
Beauty school 1st.
Mhm.
And how did that go for you?
It was great. I mean, I was excited. Like, I remember coming home and just like annoying my family because that's all I would talk about. Like everything I did at school, and then I always thought I'd stick to women's hair,
Mm-hmm.
but the first job that I worked outside of beauty school,
Right.
it just wasn't. It was never gonna allow me to grow. The circle that I was around wasn't positive, and I think I saw that pretty fast. And whenever I left there, I remember a friend from beauty school talking about her friend that was a barber that made really good money as a barber. And I'm like, let me talk to her. So I call her, I get her info, I call her. She's like, yeah, come by, check,
Right.
like literally like that day. And I went by, and then I got the job, and I like instantly like fell in love with it.
Were you already in beauty school? They show you how to cut hair too, also for men?
No, whenever I was in beauty school, I cut like one men's hair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how did you make it?
So whenever I came out, the lady that I was working for, she's like top notch barber. Like she's one of like the first female barbers in Fort Worth. She's real well known in Fort Worth, and she told me she told me to come over there for like a month or two and just watch her. And I'm glad she put it that way because at that time, like I had never, like as a girl, you don't really pay attention to like a
Right.
man's haircut. Like,
Right.
and then I started paying attention, and I didn't know what a edge up was supposed to look like, what a fade was supposed to look like.
Right.
And then she put me through like a little boot camp, and I was around like really amazing barbers. So I was real motivated and happy there. And I did that for like 12 years before I started tapping into SMP.
Wow. So what was it about that area? Like, was it a hierarchy of ladies that already established that were just not, it wasn't going to grow for you? It wasn't necessarily the work and the love for the hair necessarily?
At the first place?
At the first place?
I just wasn't used to, they were just messy, like talking about each other, then being friends in their face, and then snitching on each other, and then I didn't like that.
It wasn't, it's not part of your character, do things like that?
No, not at
That's
all. Like
cool.
my family was never like that, and it's just like they were more straightforward, and more genuine. So I just didn't feel right around it. And it was like an hourly pay. Like I think at the time it was like $8 an hour plus tips. Yeah,
that's not good. So finally, you get into the barber. You start cutting hairs. 12 years, you say.
Yeah.
And then when is it that you discover that this was actual? Because I remember I heard, I think either I heard or read, maybe it was one of your posts where you started realizing that men get really, not only men, mostly men, but a lot of women get affected by baldness, and is really does something to them. And you started noticing that there's really a difference, not only in making them better, but the confidence part. Can you tell me about that?
I don't think I really realized like how much that like affected people until I started doing it. So at first I was just, for a long time, I just kept like thinking like, what can I do on the side? Like I was doing really good barbering. Like I was booked up and I had great clients and made good money, but I wanted to do more. And I'm just like, what can I do on the side that's going to be worth my time? And I just kept thinking and thinking. And then it just like popped in my head because it was always something that, like when I first heard of it, I thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm used to working with men. Let me get some info on this. And at the time, it was really hard to find training, and it was expensive, and you'd have to travel out of state. But whenever I finally found something, that's when I'm like, okay, I think I could do this because I'm used to working with men. I have a lot of clients, and I started noticing some of them were thinning and they weren't happy about it. So I thought that I could help them out.
Yeah. Who first introduced you to doing that? Where did you first saw it? Who told you about it? And it started kind of sort of like going that direction with it.
The first time I heard about it, it was like over 10 years ago. And I heard about it on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were just like, oh, there's this new thing where they actually tattoo dots on your head. And I heard about it then, and it just always stuck in my head like it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So then I didn't know anybody doing it. I didn't know anybody at all doing it. So I remember just every couple years I would Google it and like try to find something. I talked to a couple people, and it's crazy because like 10 years ago, I talked to like a couple of different artists that I'm actually connected with now. And one of them's actually like, he's one of my assistants for appointment setting. But like 3 years ago when I started working with him, like I text him, I got his number, text him, and we had old messages. And I'm like, that's so crazy because
right?
Who would have thought that we would have like reconnected like that?
So finally you decided you found more information. It's still kept in your mind. And then when is it that you start taking the first steps to try to actually, you got to get certified, take the courses. Nothing was around here as far as classes. So so you had to go out of state to get certified? Or how did that work?
So the first time I got certified, it didn't go as expected. It was like during COVID, and I don't think he's a nice guy. You know, there's no like bad blood, but he wasn't prepared. So I don't feel like I learned I don't feel like I learned half of what I needed to know.
Right.
So, I mean, we had a little bit of a falling out, but we talked about it and, you know, fixed everything. But after that, I tried to teach myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to learn on my own and do some research. Right. And there's only so much because everybody, they're not going to give you info for free. Like they want you to invest in their training. So I ended up traveling to Maryland and I did a training over there. And then I feel like that's what really changed everything for me.
So you got certified from this gentleman, but you didn't feel like you were up to par for what you needed to do to go out in the field and work with people. And then Maryland is where you felt like that this is I feel more comfortable that I'm able to do this with people and then really make a difference with them. Yeah,
and then I remember like at first, because this is like the first bigger investment that I made, so I wasn't sure, and I talked to a couple people that I knew, that were used to business and all that, and I was like, yeah, this guy's like, should I do this? He's gonna charge me this amount of money just to go watch him, and they're like, yeah, like do it. So I'm glad that I did do it because not just did I learn from watching him, but I also saw he's really successful in the industry. He's one of the top artists. So I was also able to see what can be achieved. And to this day, like he's one of my mentors. And I remember him telling me that like his most successful artists are the ones that keep in touch with him. So I told myself I'm going to keep in touch with him. And that just really like changed everything up for me.
Awesome. What is that gentleman's name?
Chris Herrera.
Chris Herrera?
Yeah.
In Maryland?
He's in Maryland. He's the art of SMP, and he's got an office in New York also.
Oh, nice.
And he trains a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah. And then it's not necessarily, I hear that tattooing skulls or tattooing head is not really the term that you like to prefer to use. It's more of a cosmetic type of tattoo. Well, not really tattooing. I don't really like that word in the industry. Is that correct? Or am I just...
A lot of people say that, and they say it because because a lot of my clients, they don't have any tattoos. So it's their first tattoo. Some of them get freaked out by tattoos, and I sometimes, to make it sound better, I call it like a paramedical tattoo or a, like a cosmetic tattoo. Because it is, paramedical, it's hair loss is kind of like alopecia.
And does he, whenever you're doing the procedure, is it I hear 2 or 3 sessions is best to get the best results, but that doesn't go necessarily in the skull, right? Yeah, actually going to the actual I don't know. How is it? How would you describe it?
Yeah, so it doesn't go into the skull. That'd probably be
my bad, not the
dangerous.
skull,
The
the
scalp.
scalp. My
Yeah.
bad. Skull, scalp.
Yeah.
Not the same.
It's not surgery.
Okay, that's not surgery.
But
Sorry.
we work in that like second layer of the skin. So we have to be really precise with the depth. Otherwise, you'll see all kinds of like bad work if you go too deep.
The blowout.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you did good on your research. You know a lot about it.
One video, girl. Just kidding. But go ahead.
Yeah. So you just have to be really precise on your depth, and it's really important. A lot of people think it's just dots, but there's a lot to learn, a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
And it can go wrong if it's not done correctly, and not just like getting trained, but applying what you learn in your training to, to be able to do it right. It's not something you could like learn overnight.
Yeah, because for the most part, it's permanent. I hear there's laser now that you might be able to kind of sort of help out, but you want to be precise because it's going to be like a pretty permanent thing.
Laser's painful too. So it's permanent. And yeah, I mean, there's people that I've had to fix that their blowouts are so bad.
Other people botch badly.
Yeah, and sometimes it's people that, I could do it. It's just dots, so they try to do it, not using the proper needles, not using the proper pigment. And they don't even think like these people wake up to that every day. And, it messes with their self-esteem.
Okay. When did you start realizing that was part of the things that people deal with? When did you see it? Where did you hear it? Besides them talking to you, where did you see the impact of your work whenever they went out and about after you were done, or before they came in, and then when they left, the before and after?
Well, at first, like I would hear stories from other artists, and I never thought like it would happen to me. They'd say, oh, like my clients started crying when they saw their results, and I never thought like I could make that change.
Right.
But sure enough, like I started seeing it. There's people that their family doesn't even know they're bald. Like there's people that their wife doesn't know they're bald because they wear like hair pieces, or they wear like bandanas on their head, and like I've heard just some crazy stories.
So they live in the second life pretty much, that their own loved ones that they live with don't even know that they have that.
And imagine like the anxiety of like their wife finding out that they're bald, because they think, I mean, their wife doesn't love them because of their hair, but
of course,
in their head they think that they're going to be loved
so
less.
There's insecurities start forming with them, and they try to kind of sort of hide it, and then whenever you get to do your part, they can be out and not having to wear a bandana or a hat.
Yeah. Or like some people won't even go swimming, won't go to a wedding because they can't wear a hat, or, fancy restaurant. Like day to day, people think that that's not even, they don't even think about that.
Yeah.
But this is people's everyday struggle. Like if their hat flies off, that's like a big stress to them.
That's crazy. You know what? I never thought of that. Of even going. I mean, to me, I feel like if it goes, it goes. But it's because I have it, right?
Yeah.
I never put myself in that place where, it starts going. And it's part of the things that, you always had. And all of a sudden, like, your wife fell in love with that. And all of a sudden, it's gone. And like the restaurant part, too, it's crazy that you're not able to go to a fancy restaurant because you're not able to, or swim. Not that I know how to swim anyways, but just get in the water.
Right?
But just get in the water because of that concern. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then just seeing, like, because I've had people tell me, and I've seen like their Instagram and no pictures of them without a hat, and then after their SMP, I start seeing them post themselves, and like that makes me feel good.
Really?
Yeah,
that's dope.
It probably makes me feel as good as they feel whenever they have when they have their hairline back.
So then, when was the very first client that you saw that it was like that feeling of like, man, I'm really making a difference in these people's lives?
I had a lady, and she told me that her husband, none of her kids knew she was bald. She started getting bald spots from like wearing hair wigs and stuff and braiding her hair. And she told me that she wouldn't tell her daughter. She had just told her daughter recently, because she thought that her daughter wasn't going to love her. And she told her husband, and then she told her daughter, and she like broke down. Every session she'd break down and cry. And I'm just like, she,
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking to see that she actually thought that,
That's crazy.
And she was a beautiful woman, even like without hair. Like she was beautiful, and with her SMP, like she looked great. Like she could rock the bald style.
That's cool. That's dope. That's amazing. Again, I would never think that that's the case with people because, of course, one doesn't put themselves in their place because it doesn't happen to you
Yeah.
until it happens to you. Then be like, wow, there's really people have this concerns that are real, insecurities, and you help with that. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so just like everything that gets popular on social media, once people start seeing it, all of a sudden everybody wants to copy and be that one person to do the job. This is a very life-changing event, right? This is a very life-changing job that you do for the same reasons that you just told me about. What is important to know as you're learning whenever you are getting to want to do this? Because imagine it's somewhat profitable, but you start seeing all these little schools that pop off or these people teaching this, but they're not really doing the things that they need to be able to be not only do justice for the people, because they really are, as we mentioned, this is something that they really battle with, to make sure that they really help them. So for somebody that's fairly new, that's starting to be new and want to dive into it because they saw it on social media like something that's trending right now, what would you recommend for them to do to make sure that they do it correctly, they go to the right place to be able to do the job that they need to do for their life-changing life-changing procedure to their customers?
I would definitely say do research. Like when I first started, I didn't really have that eye to develop like which SMP looked great and which one didn't. Like, so I would definitely say do your research, look up reviews, make sure that have good work, not just good work, but have good reviews on their training, because there's people that are really good at what they do, but they just can't teach it. And there's people that train for SMP and then they start training students like the next month, not having, not touching all kinds of skins, because there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. And like when I first started, which was great advice, I talked to somebody and they told me, make sure that you're comfortable with everything that you do, that if one of your students has an issue, that you are comfortable enough to be able to fix it. So I made sure that I was super comfortable and I did a lot of advanced training before I started training people and taking in that responsibility.
Where do you have training like fake mannequins or stuff like that? Or how do you train?
Sometimes we do mannequins, fake skins, mostly melons, and then we work on models and stuff.
That's how you get your training. And how long was it were you practicing where you were actually felt comfortable enough to touch an actual skull? Or not a skull, scalp.
So usually the trainings are 3 days. So I touched somebody's scalp on the second day, and I wasn't comfortable, but it did take away like those jitters when you're first working on somebody's head.
Yeah.
But
so
I would
within 3 days you're already implementing the work. But you would tell them.
I had a model that I was working on that I told him, somebody was going to be watching me. But I always, like, when I train my students, they work on a model usually the third day, the last day of training.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, like, right after training, get melons and just work every day so that you don't lose that confidence.
Yeah.
Because then you get scared and you just probably will never do it again if you don't mess with it.
Yeah, you can't. You have to practice. You have to practice your skill to be able to be good. Have you had a situation where it didn't go so well for you, even though you felt comfortable, and then you had to have the talk, and then how was it that you were able to fix it? Anything?
With like a student or with myself?
A student or an actual customer of yours? A client?
Yeah, I had one student, but he had traveled from a different state.
Yeah.
And he was doing good in training, but I want to say he probably didn't practice after training. And he did everything he wasn't supposed to do on one of his family members.
Ouch.
So it was unfortunate. And, if I could, I would have fixed it for him. But he was in a different state.
Wow. But as far as your clients, everybody's being really good.
Yeah,
price?
I've never had an issue. Yeah, I've never had an
That's
issue.
good. That's great. That means you focus on the job, like the responsibility of having to be, like, as you mentioned, we keep mentioning over the life-changing thing, that the procedure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people go out and about, and again, this is usually like, what, I'm just like, what, people really do be going out there like that, but it's true, you really
Mm-hmm.
are doing that. Okay, so for the people they want to make a quick buck, is it profitable for them to be able to do this? I mean, I get it, the intention is to help people, but some people
Right.
are money driven, so we got to be honest with them. Is it profitable to do this type of job that you do?
Yeah, it definitely is. But I think what a lot of people because the average ticket price is $2,500 to $3,500. So a lot of people see those numbers and they're like, okay, well, that person's getting this many clients. I'm gonna do it too. They take the training and then they just don't apply. Like they don't apply anything. I don't see them post videos. I don't see them post pictures or anything like that. And I've learned as since I first started, that marketing is really important. And it's because this has only been around, even though it's been around for 10, 15 years, it's still kind of like in the infant stages. So a lot of people still don't know what it is. Like you didn't know what it was, right?
I didn't know what it was until I started looking at your page.
Yeah.
And then I got informed of what it was.
Yeah. So that's why it's a little bit harder for us, because not just are we trying to, convince people that this is life changing and it's going to look great, but we have to also educate them on what it is and what it's going to look like and, when it's healed and all that.
Thank you so much for being here today and checking out this amazing episode. Make sure you go and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment and a like. And now back to the episode.
So we do have it a little bit harder because marketing is going to be harder than somebody that does like hair color or nails that, everybody gets that done.
Yeah. Well, and again, if we just join, or if we just jump, SMP, Scalp Micropigmentation is called. It's a procedure to help with the appearance of baldness, or when you loosen your hair, they do the procedure to make it seem like, of course, most of the times you have to be bald or cut your hair off shorter, but then you'll be able to see, you can't even tell that, if you do a good job, you can't even tell that there's nothing there. They just look like their hairline.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've had people like, and like I've had people tell other people, oh, like I'm growing my hair out, or I started using this new product, or I just decided to grow out my hair, and people believe them. So when it's done correctly, then you shouldn't be able to tell.
That's good. That good. Okay, so when did you decide to go and launch your own business, your own school, your clinic of specializing with this? When was it that you made this? Because it was a big decision, right? I don't know if you were still working at the barbershop, decided to close that out, and then just go into and doing this and invest on yourself with that.
So I started this as like a side hustle, and like I fell in love with it. I was real passionate about it. Little at a time, I had to start cutting back on my haircuts because I was picking up clients with SMP.
Yeah.
It was becoming more consistent. So I was having to cut 5 days a week, 4 days a week, then 3 days. Next thing you know, I was just working like 7 days a week for like a year. And I just couldn't stop. Like I couldn't stop working. And I just told myself, like, I think this is the time that I'm just going to have to pick. And if I don't know if I'm making the right choice. Like I was scared. Like I was crying. Like I was freaking out. I felt like I was grieving because like I really loved barbering, and I loved all my clients. And a lot of them were they were mad because they'd had to find a new barber, and a lot of them were with me from the beginning. So I just had to quit. And I told myself, if I do have a little bit of extra time, I can focus on making content and marketing for my business. And that's exactly what happened. Like whenever I had free time, I'd go hand out cards at like local gyms, or just trying to network with people.
Yes.
And then sure enough, it like picked up, and now that's what I do full time.
Yeah. So your company is SMP Fort Worth?
Fort Worth SMP.
Fort Worth SMP. My bad. My apologies. Fort Worth SMP. Very first clinic in the entire Fort Worth, city of Fort Worth that this is available. And do you also, and you began training not that long ago, correct? As far as you, or are
I
you?
want to say it's been like 2 years.
So 2 years you've been training people too.
Uh-huh.
So you have not only the clinic, but you also have actual students that you're teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long? So 3 days. That's it. The course.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is because you're gonna learn the most from different skin types.
Yeah.
And not just then and there. You learn when they come back, they're healed. You learn a lot from different situations. So it takes time. That's the reason that it takes time, because you have to deal with all kinds of skin types, all kinds of hairstyles, all kinds of hair colors, skin colors. Like it's a lot.
Okay, so for people that never tattoo or got a tattoo, you know how some people are allergic to ink? How do you go about testing for that? Or if they never had a tattoo, how do you figure that they're not going to be or have some kind of reaction to the ink?
You could do a test patch.
Yeah? So you do that. And then the coloring, matching the color?
So it's off a grayscale. There's not a lot of color theory that goes into it. There's some that we do a little bit to kind of dilute and neutralize so that it doesn't turn like a green or a blue color, just like a lot of tattoos. So it is a little bit different, but then that's also something you learn as you know, from experience.
Yeah. And you had clients come over from all over the country at one time, or I'm pretty sure you still do. You had people from New Mexico, Kansas, Delaware, Louisiana come see you?
Yeah, New York, California, like all over. Virginia.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's just all over the place. Right now, a lot of people from Dallas and all over.
So right now you're getting a lot of clients from the Dallas area. Dallas
all
area.
over, like DFW, Oklahoma, like Corpus, Lubbock, like all over Texas. But I do get like out of state sometimes.
Really? That's pretty dope. And if anybody was to want to book an appointment with you, is it a consultation first and see what it is, or is it just book the appointment and you go into it and start?
No, consultation.
Okay.
Yeah, because we want to talk about like what their goals are, what their maintenance is like, what their daily routines are like, and all that.
Okay. So is that a free consultation that you do, or is it okay?
Yeah, it's free consultation, and then
it has to be in person though, right? Just
I do a lot over the phone.
Yeah?
So like they'll send pictures, and then I get an idea from the pictures, and then we'll kind of talk about it. And a lot of the times it's easier for people, especially if there's people traveling or people that are busy working.
Yeah. So you finally, let's say, I'm going to put myself in an example. So I book an appointment. I book a consultation with you. I tell you, hey, I kind of saw it thinning a little bit. And then finally we talk about what we're going to be my solution or my whatever you recommend. And then I heard 2 or 3 sessions are recommended. But at that time, how would it be when I go and see you? First of all, where would I book my appointment? Which would be the website, right?
Yeah, website. I do have some people DM me, but it's easier if they go to my website. They'll go into the system, because if I'm not, working on a client, I'm making content, I'm picking up my kids, doing the mom stuff, the house stuff. So it is easier for them to go to the website, and then I'll have my appointment setter reach out to them, and he does a lot of the consultations for me.
Oh, okay. So, you got people working for you.
I have a couple people that do like my marketing and appointments and consultations.
So finally, I got a hold of you. We booked an appointment, and now I get there. Is it in Fort Worth, the address? What is the location?
So I'm about a mile from downtown Fort Worth.
Okay.
Do you know like Magnolia area, like the hospital district?
I think
Well,
so.
you're about 5 minutes away from me.
I'm around that area.
Yeah.
So that's where we'll go. And then after that, you just get to work on me. Start making me.
So we'll draw out the hairline, and I'll have my client approve it, and then we'll go from there. And usually people are like nervous. Sometimes they're really nervous right before. Then as soon as I do the first couple pokes, they're like, that's it, So it's not like it's not invasive. I've had people like, oh, am I bleeding a lot? I'm like, no, you're not bleeding at all.
So invasive, would it be just piercing through the skin?
Yeah, like you don't really see blood. I mean, it's not as deep technically as like a regular tattoo. So, I mean, even with regular tattoos, you don't see a lot of blood.
Yeah.
So
Is it recommended to take a shot before you go see you? Just, for the nerves?
no, because it thins out the blood and it's gonna make the irritation
That
worse.
is real. Stop taking shots before you can see it. And how long would you be doing my first session for? Let's say, how long would it take usually?
I work pretty fast, so about 2.5 hours. I tell people.
So 2.5 hours for the first session just to make sure we get it. And then do you
Mhm.
recommend second or third, or just depend on each
for
case?
sure. No, for sure. It's never like one session because of the way the scalp heals. Definitely 2 to 3 on average, 3, but each session gets a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm. And does the price remain the same?
No, it's different, just
And
depending on the hair loss and how much blending we have to do and all that.
how much would it be average a session? I'm guessing depending on the baldness area,
Uh-huh.
but how much usually the low ballpark and the high ballpark? Let's say my entire top of my scalp is just a bald all the way.
So that can range like 3,000, 3,500. If there's scarring, sometimes we've had people that pay up to 5,000, and then very minimal. Like I try to keep a minimum at 1,200. But I do have people that they just want their hairline enhanced. They want a tiny scar covered up, and in that case, then I'll charge them a little bit cheaper.
So
And that's
even
usually
scars?
a package price.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So scars and patches like alopecia.
Okay, so you have packages that you put together, but some of them can range differently depending on alopecia or scars, and you
Mhm.
get to blend it in to make sure you can't tell.
So it's like the pricing that I give is a total service price.
Mm.
So it's not like a package, but it's like it'll be like 3,000 for the whole service. So if they need 2 sessions, it's covered. If they need a third session, it's covered.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, here you go. FortWorthSMP.com.
Mm-hmm.
FortWorthSMP.com. We're going to put it on the description. Make sure you go and check her out. Make sure you book your appointment. In the Fort Worth area, the first clinic ever. There's more popping. I mean, again, maybe it's because I was watching your page and all of a sudden there was more people that were doing that.
Yeah, there's other people that do it. I was the first one that had like clinic only. There's a couple of barbers that do it, and there's a lot of great artists in DFW. But this is like the first location that's only specialized for SMP.
Nice. Not the first SMP. Come down. Don't come
Don't
at
come
me.
attack me.
Don't come attack me just because it's the first clinic to actually do just specifically this. There's other artists out there, but again, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I think again, it is profitable, but I think the thing that you see more is that even though it started as a side hustle, it's just like the impact in the people's life.
Yeah, because I think it's something you have to be passionate about it, but it's easy to be passionate about it when you see how happy people get.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say like only do it for the money because you're likely not going to want to put in the practice,
Yeah. You're not going to be able to touch that melon and practice over and over and over and over until you get good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, you've been doing great. How many students do you think you do a month now?
So my main thing is procedures. I'm really busy with procedures. So, and I love doing it. So training, I don't do too much. I would I don't really have a certain amount. There's some months that I get like 4 people to 5 people, and then there's times where it's 1 student. So I don't like to do like huge classes because I'd rather be more, more intimate setting and them do more hands-on. And I also get really nervous doing huge classes. And I feel
it makes
like
more sense though, right? They can see it and
yeah,
watch it.
and
like
I
you
just don't
watch.
feel like huge classes get as much attention one-on-one.
Yeah, I don't think they would either. So, okay. So we still in my appointment. I did 2 sessions. I was good to go. But is it painful? You said it
Most
earlier. It's
people-
just like barely like just
Yeah, there's certain areas that are a little more sensitive,
More
but
tender
most
than others?
people, most people are pretty good about it. I get
And-
maybe 2 out of 10 people that are complain about the pain, but it's not very common.
because they're little. I'm just kidding. You're not. And then after that, there's not a lot of blood. And then also, I heard that once you do that, because it's not invasive, you can even actually do it in your lunch break or something like that. And go back to work or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, like I mean, lunch break would probably not be long enough, but I've
Extended
had
lunch.
people like I had this guy show up with his daughter. She's like, "Oh, I didn't know he's gonna be able to drive," and I'm like, "No, it's like it's definitely like you can drive right after. You'll feel fine. You know you might feel a little bit of sensitivity, but it's
Yeah.
not gonna like it's not. There's not really any downtime."
And I heard that you use a specific needle or type of needle that you like. I saw it on a little clip of a podcast that you got coming up soon. Is there a particular needle that you use in numbing cream? Is there any numbing cream that you use?
Numbing cream, I don't.
Uh-huh.
It's just I prefer not to, and it's not very necessary. It kind of changes the skin texture
Oh, wow.
and the skin tone. Like it'll change a different color as you're working on it.
Okay.
So I'd rather be able to see what what it's truly like.
Yeah.
But I do have my favorite needles that I post about all the time. They're called Eros,
Euros?
and that's actually the company I'm sponsored by.
Nice.
So not only is it because of that, but it's because like I truly love them.
What is it about the particular needles that you like a lot? I'm sure you use different needles, but this particular ones, what is it about it? You found it easier for you? Is there like something specific about them that you like more than others?
The main thing is that they work on most skin types. So like I mean not most skin types, but it's an overall needle that's going to work on all skin types. So before I used to buy all these different brands because this person needle like this certain brand wouldn't work well on a certain skin type, and then I just have all these different kinds, and this one is like a good overall needle for all skin types,
Yeah. Nice.
and it lasts longer, stays sharp.
Nice. Okay. And then what is the most, if anybody gets a procedure done, what is the most important thing that they have to remember to do? Like if you get a tattoo, you got to put the cream on it and keep it sealed or keep it like, well, I don't know if I was the only one, but they put like ceramic wrap around it to keep it from doing. Is there anything very important that if you just got a procedure, a SMP procedure that you have to make sure that you do to not mess up the work that you already did?
I tell people to keep it dry for about 3 days and then keep it moisturized. So no like heavy sweating. That can kind of make it, what's it called? Fade out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen because, Texas is really hot in the summer,
Yeah.
but it can make it fade out a little bit faster.
And how long does how long does it last for you? Once you get your third session, 3 sessions, 2 sessions, whatever it is, how long before you have to retouch it again? Is there something that you have to constantly maintain after it's been done?
So it'll gradually lighten up. There's not really like a certain time frame because everybody's skin type's different, and some people are out in the sun a lot, some people are in the pool a lot.
Yeah.
But I've had people come in like once a year and it still looks good even after a year, but they want it like a color boost. I've had people come every 3, like, I mean, I've only been doing it for 4 years, but I've had people that I've seen from 3 years ago and it still looks good, but it could have used a touch up.
Okay.
So I would say, and it's not really like doing like the whole service again,
Yeah.
but it'll be like a touch up session, like every couple years. Yeah.
Okay. So keep it dry, moisturize, and don't get wet. Don't go out swimming. Even though you can go back to work out or whatever, you want to make sure that you keep it. So what other things do you have in mind to do as far as, I don't know if you have ideas of expanding your shop or making it bigger or having one maybe here in Dallas? Any of those plans going on?
Yeah, that's stuff. Like when I first started, I called it Fort Worth because, like I said, it was like a side thing.
Yeah.
And now I wish I would have chosen something more like universal that if I did move somewhere, didn't have to change the name. So I would love to like open something in Dallas because there's so many people out here that still don't know about it.
Right.
And eventually tap into some other type of businesses also.
So you do have ideas of maybe expanding here in the Dallas area.
Yeah.
Maybe not Dallas, Fort Worth SMP, but maybe Dallas SMP or something like that. I mean, it's up to you, but that's cool. That's cool. I don't doubt that you will. I mean, I'm amazing that you have your own place that you're able to do, and that you were the first one to have that particular thing Not the first one. Calm down. I'm just kidding.
Not the first one ever.
ever. Okay. So how do you feel when people like come all the way from out of state to come see you specifically? I'm pretty sure they find you on social media or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time, social media, and I mean, it's definitely very flattering because now I would probably do that too. Like if I found somebody that I really liked out of state, I would travel to. But it is flattering that, they take the time and invest the money and then choose me. So yeah, I do appreciate it, and I'm very grateful for that.
I'm pretty sure because you're great at it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be seeking you. And word of mouth. And your videos look great, by the way. Your social media, you've been putting in work. And yeah, I like them a lot. I've learned quite a bit just by watching your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're running short on time. I appreciate you very much sharing everything. Is there anything particular regarding SMP that we need to let people know or inform them about?
I would just say if you're interested in getting it done, definitely do some research. Not just, let somebody sell you on something, but make sure that you look at their portfolio and make sure that they, have work and that they're working in a clean area, because that's really important also.
Okay. So she told you what to do as far as research. Do it. Go look at their portfolio. Look at the area they work with. Look at all that stuff, because it's going, again, pretty permanent. You kind of sort of get it fixed with lasers from what I hear, but either way, it's going to, if you go in and make a bad decision, not a bad decision, but not the most greatest decision, it can be somewhat corrected, but it's going to hurt.
And also do not choose an artist by price. So that's definitely something that you don't want to go look for the cheapest SMP artist and choose this one because he's cheaper.
Okay, here's another question that I thought about. Do you offer any financing as far as, because, some people can cough up the 3Gs or not, $3,000 or $2,500, $1,500. Some people are not able to. Do you have any financing in the future or financing now that you're able to do? You do?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
I have payment plans, and I have something similar to Care Credit. And yeah, because some people, sometimes they have the money, they just don't want to spend it all at once. Sometimes they want to work on their credit. So it is a good option. And we do have like different payment plans.
Okay. So is it required to do a down payment and then do the rest in installments? Or how does it work?
Yeah, with that, you do a down payment and they'll finance it. They'll give you like different options, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Or if they, like I've had people that we've worked out a deal where we can break it down in installments.
That's awesome. Again, you don't have to cough up the money immediately. There's other options for you. You have to make sure that, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of qualification or some kind of criteria that you have to go off of. But again, don't eliminate the part that you don't have the funds to be able to do it. If it's something that has been bugging you, something that has been holding you back for whatever reason, I didn't realize how big of a deal it is, you do hit her up at forwardsmp.com and check out some of the options. Don't discount the idea just because you don't have the funds immediately. It might be an option for you also. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Before I let you go, can you tell me all your social media? Where can people find you? Where can they, once again, book the appointment or everything that you have going on?
So my website, I would say if you want to book a consultation or book an appointment, it's fortworthsmp.com. TikTok's fortworthsmp. Instagram is fortworthsmp. And Facebook, Forward Scalp Micropigmentation.
Awesome. That one takes me a little while to say because...
yeah, even me sometimes.
The Mexican accent comes out. All right, thank you. And shout-outs. Any shout-outs that you have of people, your family, friends, people to help you, your mentors to help you get to this place? What shout-outs do you have?
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout-out to my pro team. We work very well together. We talk every day and make sure we hold each other accountable and support each other. And it's been really positive ever since I knew it was going to be a good team, but it feels like a family. And we're all over the world. Okay. And yeah, we talk every day. Is
that the one that is the one you had recently joined, the Pro Artists and Blends Pro? Is that the one you're referring to?
Team. Mm-hmm.
And they just Is there a particular group, just like I don't know if it's like a social group or things like that, or just specifically for SMP?
It's specifically for SMP.
What are the perks of being there for you to be part of that group?
One thing we do motivate each other. We do a lot of support. We're always showing each other love on social media. We also have people referring us. So I've had referrals from one of the artists in New York, artists from Washington, all over. So, people reach out to them and they're like, okay, well, there's an artist closer to you. So that we get to try out the products before everybody. Yeah. We've gotten some free products. We get promo codes for our students and stuff like that.
That's dope. That's awesome. All right. And what is an important lesson that you tell your younger self that you learned during the SMP that you would, what was an important lesson that you learned that you would tell your younger self doing SMP that will help somebody else out today?
Like when I first started SMP? Yeah. Don't be afraid to invest in your education.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important. Make sure you invest in your education and yourself. I think doing it, it's like the money might be the gateway to get in, but then once you realize the impact you do, I think it will be more of a bigger factor.
It's rewarding.
Some people, For some people. Maybe not everybody, but I think you'll see that. That's pretty dope. Okay, this one is a little bit deeper. Usually when I wake up or throughout the day or right now, because I haven't said it, I usually say something along the lines, I'm not immortal, I am mortal, and I will die one day. And that's not to scare me or frighten me or whatever. It's just, just a reality in life. But I do have to realize that with that, it helps me, hurry up and get things done and move. With that, when everything's said and done for you, I wish you a long, prosperous life. However, when everything's said and done, what do you want people to think or feel about your life?
I definitely want to be somebody that is going to make a change and always, be remembered as being genuine and, nonstop growing and stuff like that.
I'm sure they will. I'm pretty sure. I don't know you. We just met, but I feel like I can kind of sense that you're that type of individual that has integrity and had a great upbringing and appreciative of what your parents did. And it's awesome to see you from since 5 years old learning, and having a love for doing things with your hair and your dog to getting into barber school, something you like, even after you have just barely had a baby, to finding this right here, not only that it helps you, fund your life, but also you see the impact that it does to people. I think it's super important. I think it's amazing work that you're doing. Anybody that I have here, I never know their whole story. One might think that they know,
right?
But when you actually start talking and sharing, I mean, like, wow, it's amazing, because I want your story to be impactful for somebody to hear. And if they ever had any ideas of doing this, they have an example, a Latina, a Mexicana, they will be able to look and be like, wow, she did it. I might be able to do it too. So it's amazing. And without a doubt, being on social media and everything, I don't doubt that one of these days you might even be out in the world doing your thing. So without a doubt, Erika Martinez, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember to subscribe. Go follow us on the audio podcast. My name is Crispin Valentin. Again, thank you very much for joining another episode. And remember, we are the spice in this melting pot. It is the world. Till next time. Us.
Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Make sure you go and subscribe to the channel. Check out the content and the episodes that we have ready for you. Thank you very much. Till next time.
Pero but in fact is a flamingo coming to Havana and from Puerto Rico.